The first bullet tore through her shoulder. The second shattered bone in her arm. The third and fourth slammed into her back, each one a thunderclap of pain that threatened to steal her breath. But Petty Officer Maren Holt didn't stop moving. Not when two Navy SEALs lay bleeding behind her. Not when the radio crackled with enemy voices closing in. And not when every step felt like it might be her last. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I love knowing who's listening. The valley was a cauldron of dust and heat, every breath thick with the metallic scent of blood. Around her, the air hummed with gunfire, the hills alive with the sharp echoes of rifles. Her knees shook, not from fear, but from the weight. One SEAL slung across her back, the other limp in her arms, his blood soaking into her uniform. She thought of dropping them. Not because she wanted to, but because her vision blurred and the world tilted sideways. But then she remembered the way they had shielded her in the first ambush, how one had pulled her down just before a mortar struck. That memory lit a fire in her lungs, forcing her legs to keep moving. Somewhere behind her, enemy fighters shouted in a language she barely understood, but the tone was clear. They wanted her stopped. Every instinct screamed to hide, to take cover. Instead, she pressed the radio to her lips with trembling fingers. "This is Valkyrie 3, she gasped, voice breaking. "Artillery, grid 7942. Fire for effect." The silence before a barrage is like holding your breath. Underwater. Seconds stretch into an eternity. She could hear the SEAL on her back trying to speak, his voice weak and cracked. "Leave me, you won't make it." She didn't answer. The truth was, she wasn't sure she could make it. But there was something cruel in letting someone die. When there was still a chance, no matter how small. Dust rose in small spirals under her boots as she trudged on, the ridge line ahead looking impossibly far. Then, the first artillery round screamed overhead. A heartbeat later, the hills behind her erupted into fire and thunder, shaking the earth and drowning out the enemy's shouts. For a brief moment, she allowed herself to believe they might actually survive. That's when her legs gave out. She dropped to her knees, muscles refusing to obey. The SEAL she carried rolled onto the ground with a groan. She wanted to cry, not from the pain, but from the terror of stopping too soon. She forced her body forward, crawling now, dragging them both through the coarse, dry grass. Every handful of earth she gripped felt like another refusal to quit. And then, finally, the slope gave way to a rise at the top. Friendly silhouettes appeared, rifles ready. For a split second, there was only stillness, the kind that comes before people decide what they're seeing. Then came the shouts. Boots thundered toward her. Strong hands lifted the SEALs away, others catching her before she collapsed. Later, in the medical tent, she would learn the rounds had missed her spine by less than an inch. The SEALs would both live, and she would refuse every medal offered, saying only, "I couldn't let them be left behind." Because courage isn't the absence of pain, it's the decision to carry the weight anyway. And sometimes, the longest road you'll ever walk is the one that leads someone else back to life. If stories like this move you, subscribe and share, because the world needs more reminders of what we can be when we refuse to give up on each other.